Oh,
Um,
I'll come and help you, because she's so busy with her mom now.
Good evening, everyone. Unmute.
Okay, it's 7 o'clock. Is everybody? on? I call the meeting to order. Welcome our guests. Our guest. And we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'm gonna call the roll. Niffy,
Present.
Steve. Green,
I don't see him online anymore.
okay, we'll come back to him. Dave Primer. Here. Meredith. Here. And I am Deb Curley, the president. I am present. Let me know when he comes on.
I will.
Okay.
I will, but I'd like to have it noted in the minutes at this point, at the time of roll, Mr. Green was absent and that absence was unexcused.
Okay, he's
He
on
just- he
now.
just signed on.
Steve, are you present? Steve? Steve? I see him there, but he's not answering.
He's muted.
What do I do?
And I'll wait for him to unmute himself.
Niffy, I see him on the screen, but he's not responding.
Well, it may not be working. Who knows
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, it doesn't work. I've been sitting there pushing the unmute button for 5 minutes and I was trying to log on for the last 10.
Okay, there you go.
So we only started exactly at 7,
Yeah, well, I tried to log on before.
and we just started. So you are present.
Present.
Are there additions or deletions to the agenda? Okay, are there any conflicts of interest related to any of the agenda items? No. I'm going to ask for approval of the July 20th meeting minutes. Meredith, do you want to?
Yeah, I
Clarify.
guess I should clarify. I made 2 different versions of the minutes. Both of them sequentially were posted on the website. I'm not sure which one is up there right now. One of them was the facts as requested, as delineated in our meeting minutes policy. The other included a few very brief comments from Steve Green. As this raised issues of, well, if Steve gets to have comments, all of us should have comments. And then we go back into the old problem we had of everybody getting to express their opinions, or as stated in the recordings, what it sounds like they said, and so forth. I think the best thing to do is to go to the original version of the meeting minutes stated as facts with no statements per se.
May I add something, Mary?
Go right ahead.
I didn't add comments. I added things that were omitted.
That you said,
I said them, but they were omitted. You didn't write them down. You chose some things to write down and didn't write down other things.
I wrote down important points that the chief made in his report. I wrote down the approval of the previous minutes. I wrote down the approval of the Jan Snyder resolution for addressing the ballot A issues.
But you didn't write down the things that I said at the meeting.
Meredith, may I?
I didn't write down the things that I said, Steve, nor did I write down the things that Nippy said.
That's for them to be written down.
So,
Didn't, it's not my
so
fault.
it's a draw.
Do you want me to, Steve, do you want me to read the minutes policy that was approved?
No, I don't want you to read those minutes policies. They're designed to not let people know what's going on.
No, they're according to Robert's Rules of Order, where actions are reported but not conversations.
Look, you omitted the fact that you said certain people voted. You said it was unanimous and it wasn't unanimous vote. I said that. And then
It was unanimous for the people who were at the meeting, Steve. You were not there.
you know what, Meredith? There hasn't been any truth in the minutes since February. So if you want to continue it, it's just you're continuing the non-transparency.
Meredith, I'm going to, if you would allow me to address this. We developed a minutes policy. We need to follow the minutes policy. This is not Meredith's personal doing.
Yes, it
Meredith
is.
Following the minutes policy as the secretary and according to her duties to the board. And any personal attack against her for her following her duty will be met with censure proposals from myself.
Oh, Nippy, you and your censures, come on. Meredith omitted certain things that people said, and it was omitted intentionally, or just include them, they were said.
Point of
I'm gonna
order.
close.
Yes.
Point
we've
of order, Steve. I'm looking for approval of the original minutes as were published.
I move to approve those minutes as originally published.
And I'll second it.
I don't know which one was approved. You wrote two of them, or which one are we approving?
The original one.
First,
Yes.
one. I like the second. I'd rather approve the second.
Okay, so the motion on the floor is to approve the first rendition of the minutes that is on the website. And I'm gonna, is that correct, Niffy?
That's correct. Well, I'm not sure what version is on the website, but the original version that did not include editorial comment, but only followed our district policy on minutes.
Oh, that's a bunch of malarkey. There were no editorial comments. There were inclusions of things that were omitted.
Point of order.
In this as much as
Point
you.
of order.
Point of order, it's my
Point
turn.
of order.
Point
I
of
have
order.
proposed a motion. It has been
Steve.
seconded. Discussion is closed. It is now time to vote.
Run the show, Niffy. You're an equal board member. You're not a special board
Point
member.
of order.
Point of order, Niffy.
I'm gonna make a second to Niffy's motion that we accept the first rendition of the minutes that are on the website. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Nay.
Okay, we have three, and Steve, are you voting?
Hey,
I'm sorry.
I vote
Nay.
against what you just voted.
Okay,
I will approve the second one, not like you.
okay, well, this is on the first one, and so that passes. There is no second one.
Are you abstaining or saying nay to the first one? I have,
Nay to the first.
I have to put that.
Okay, we have three yes, two no. So it passes, the motion passes. Moving on to the treasurer's report, Niffy. Niffy?
I'm talking to myself over here. Excuse me.
Okay, you're back.
Treasurer's report as posted online and prepared by bookkeeper Chris Creech for 17 August 2023 through July 2023. Our total expenditures were $11,488. Noted items, we had a $75,000 transfer of dollars to our College Trust reserve account. We had significant expenses for fuel, $1,000 on our diesel. We've spent $119,919 against a budgeted spend of $119,014. So we're tracking pretty closely. Through July, we have received our income or our revenue from the Jefferson County Treasurer in the amount of $42,959. Interest on our reserve account was around $1,800. And we also received $9.22 in donations. There was a fee associated with the PayPal donation, if I understand correctly. So that was meant to be a $10 donation, but it was slightly reduced. We also have an additional expected tax revenue of $18,000 through the rest of the month and another $9,000 through the remainder of the year for interest income on our revenue account. Statement of financial position. Balance of $466,519. That is roughly double what our budget is and 4 times what our annual spend has been in the past. So we have a very healthy reserve. Budget versus actuals. That transfers going in, we expected that. Our general budgeted items are averaged across the month. So you'll see propane as a single fee throughout the year, but it obviously is different in the winter versus the summer. Same thing with that's all I had to say about that. Payroll, obviously, for the chief. And then there's still an issue with some of items being double posted to our QuickBooks, but we're still working to resolve that. Any discussions? We do have, the full text of our statement of financial position. All transactions are posted, and our budget versus actuals are also posted. So if there's any discussion or questions or action items.
No? Anybody?
Hearing none.
Why is Chris Creech doing the treasurer's job when you're the treasurer?
Doing the bookkeeping job, Steve, with the not auditor, with the
I don't believe that's the case.
I don't care. Moving on.
okay.
Who was
Chief's
it?
report.
Perfect.
Oh,
Was that Nifty or that Deb who said I don't care?
no,
Who do you
it
think,
wasn't
Steve?
me.
Who do you think, Steve?
I have no idea. I'm
All
asking.
right, guys.
Don't identify.
Hey, all right, that's enough. We're going on to the chief's report.
I don't care.
All right, we'll keep this
You don't like
abbreviated.
that question of who speaks. Another problem with this meeting. Can't tell who's speaking.
Point of order.
Point of order. Is that the person who
Point
said?
of order. Point of order.
Nifty?
Mr. Green, you are out of order and you
You're
are
out
off.
of order. Answer the question. Was it you who said I don't care? Yes or no, Niffy?
Ms. Curley, as our president, I'd ask you to rule on my point of order that
Who
Mr.
said
Green
I
is
don't
off
care?
topic and we need to
Steve,
proceed with
Steve,
the-
we're moving. Steve, we're done with the treasurer's report, all right?
Somebody answer the question. If these simple want to make a move on.
Chris Creech is the Chris Creech is the bookkeeper. He works with our
Said I don't care.
chief and
Why is it you don't
Niffy.
answer this question? Is it true you don't care?
Steve, we're moving on.
Why don't you answer the question?
It's not important, that's why.
It's important to me. Who said I don't care?
What did the person not care about, Steve?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out.
Okay, well, if you don't know that, let's move on.
It was about who is doing the treasurer's work.
And I told you,
You don't want to answer the question. Let that be noted for the record that you don't care
Steve,
who the treasurer is.
Chris Creech, Steve, are you listening?
I'm listening. You're not answering.
I'm answering you. Chris
you-
Creech is our volunteer bookkeeper.
Who said I don't care?
I don't know. Nobody knows. We're moving on to the chief's report.
Lying.
Okay,
I'm gonna have to mute him if he keeps up.
okay.
Completely,
So
I don't care. Mute me.
we'll continue. So we're gonna kind of go through just point by point and keep this digestible and a little bit shorter than my previous ones. I know they've been a little bit long recently.
We're working on brevity.
We have a lot going on each time, so. So we continue to work with the county and their CWPP. I'm having a series of meetings with Ember Alliance, who is the nonprofit that the county is working with to create their CWPP. We have come into a little bit of a interesting challenge in that the CWPP planning units that were used both in the 2011 CWPP for Golden Gate were based off of the 2004 CWPP. So the planning units have not been updated for almost 20 years. And they also don't include the entirety of the fire district. They only included residential areas. So we're working with the county as far as how we update the plan units. This is really important for us as Jeffco is continuing to look at this CWPP planning unit as basically evacuation planning zones. As we kind of move forward and hopefully the county has a comprehensive CWPP. So that's actually an acute thing that we're trying to resolve with the county before the end of this month. Also regionally, outside of the county, the Jeffco Adams Hazmat Authority that currently serves as our advanced hazmat resource. So if we have a hazmat incident that expands beyond our capabilities within our district, we are able to activate what's called Jeffco Adams Hazmat. which is a combined authority between Jefferson County, several municipalities, and Adams County. That authority has been in part for the better part of 30 years, to my understanding, maybe even longer than that. And several of the municipalities, not the counties, that have been a part of that authority have filed intent to remove themselves from the authority, which changes some of the financial picture for that. There's been a lot of conversation on the Jeffco Adams Hazmat board as to how they move forward, and we are not sure how that affects us. However, the good thing is that we maintain really good mutual aid relationships with several districts that house advanced hazmat capabilities. So our advanced hazmat capabilities remain strong within the district.
Chris,
Yes,
about the CWPP. What do you mean it only included residential areas? Our district is essentially residential. Does that mean it omits
So-
the open space?
It was the way that they had the planning units is actually based off of hazard and type. My apologies. I tried to turn off my messaging and I don't know why this is continuing to come through. But it was based off of small units that were based off of where the residential development was at that time. When I think that was probably the style of when those CWPPs were made. And yes, you have something to go for this one.
Real quick, in 2012, we acquired our first commercial properties here, which was after the 2011.
Yes.
We had 0 commercial properties in the district until 2012. That's why it was probably omitted.
So it's not even, there's also doesn't account for the open space or for even private land that was for under a large landholder. So when you look at our CWPP planning units, it actually has like little bricks that are a part of our district instead of that taking our whole district and sectioning the district. Which is how other fire districts build their CWPPs and how Ember Alliance builds planning units moving forward. So what we're trying to do is take those, consolidate them, expand them through the whole district so it applies to a whole section of the district instead of just small residential plots within the district.
Seems like a big job.
And we have all hands on deck for the next week trying to get this done.
Okay. Is there a
Um,
deadline?
We need to have it done by the end of the month.
Holy cow.
Yeah, so that's our goal. I've got myself and Chris Enright. I'm working with GIS folks from Ember Alliance and some folks from the county and from Jeffcom to try to get that together. Any other questions on that? Just so we are clear, again, Ember Alliance is also the nonprofit that we have discussed moving forward with an update of our own CWPP in 2024. We'll visit in a second. When we talk about looking forward, that is something that we are looking to try to get a grant for. Go ahead, Patty.
There used to be an emergency exit through White Ranch. And that has been, I think because of the development down below, I think that has been blocked. Is there any hope of opening that back up?
So the emergency exit that I know of through White Ranch goes back through the mine. And I traveled that road last month. It is passable. Would be very difficult to egress people that way. However, we could potentially do so. There from this side of the district, there are other alternatives that I would prefer other than that. Before taking people all the way down through the mine and then back to the backside of Ralston Buttes. But that does still remain a possible option should we need to use it.
And so when this is done, you'll let the residents know, okay, here.
Yeah.
Here are your exits.
Pardon?
Will this, when it's finished, you will let residents know, okay, here are your exits in an emergency?
Yes. So there's a bunch of different things that a CWPP is going to look at. It's going to look at our egress capabilities. It's going to look at where we need work as far as enhancing egress if we need to do so. It looks at future viability of mitigation projects. Essentially creates the basis for us to be able to move forward and get grant money or kind of direct us on all those projects moving forward. And that's also the same with the county. So the county is just a larger scope. However, we are one of, if not the largest housing fire district for county open space land. And so I think that that was brought to Ember Alliance's attention at that time, or when I had the meeting with them. And they understand that risk for the county as their all encompassing view for CWPP for the county.
Okay,
Go ahead, Steve.
this is Niffy, sorry.
Niffy.
Real quickly, do we have signage that shows our emergency routes, or is that something that we should have?
Yeah, I think that signage in general is a question that's come up recently over the last month or so. And I think it's something that we're going to look forward to both with CWPP and maybe even outside of CWPP, as far as creating defined egress routes and also signage for awareness around wildland fire, fire bans, things like that as we move forward with the district.
Thank you.
Administration, we cleaned out station 82, which in between the two. Station 83's community clean out is actually this weekend. And that's going to be a very fun event, just based off of the size of the station. We expect the workload to be significantly less and a little bit more based off of community engagement. We're also going to host a touch a truck event during that time. We're going to bring one of every type of our apparatus down to the Grange and Station 83 parking lot. We're going to do some kind of unique things there. For touch a truck, normally it's just trucks that are sitting out for kids to play with, but allow them to allow them to actually engage with the cleanup theme. We're actually going to allow them to help us wash the fire trucks, and we think that that's going to be a pretty special things for young children to kind of have that next step of
Bring clothes for them to change it.
yeah.
Bring the clothes.
I think it's one of those things that allows them to really have, buy-in to the fire district at a really young age. Not only do they get to sit in that fire truck, they got to help clean that fire truck, and it's something that they will remember for a long time. So we're really looking forward to that event. This is from operations. Our operations chief, Chris Enright. Call types and volume are typical for the summer. However, we still are trending on a little bit of the historical lower side. The weather patterns are still showing higher moisture, even though we are kind of falling into a little bit of a drier cycle right now. Our fuel moistures are higher, which is why we haven't seen any large regional wildland fires quite yet. We've had a couple of heat-related injury or incidences, and also but because of the high moisture, lightning fires have been at a low. So we did have an incidence of dry lightning today in the district, but it did not cause any fires that we know of. I know we had a couple people on the lookout, but we did have dry lightning in the district today. We had 59 incidents, and that's actually a little bit behind. I believe we're now at 61 incidents after yesterday.
Did you ever clean it?
We did not. We covered it from district edge to district edge, nothing. So yeah, that was unable to locate. We believe that the person was transported by a personal vehicle before we got there.
And one thing we had years ago is if a car goes off that ditch above the stone house
Yeah.
into those willows, if it doesn't leave any tracks, you're gonna have a hard time finding it.
Yeah.
We had a hard time finding one up there years ago.
And I was a little bit concerned about that yesterday, but I think we covered it really well with a brush, the engine, myself, and Jeffco. And then actually after that, state came back and looked again just to make sure. So we definitely covered our bases. We're continuing to work and build relationships with our mutual aid partners. We've worked a lot with Chief Jones, who's the new operations chief at Golden, making sure that Golden Gate is alerted to the incidents occur within our legal boundaries, but that may have fallen to Golden or other entities. There is a discussion about our border that is on Highway 6 that's happening with Golden, where there may have been historical norms of calls occurring in the backcountry areas there and even the Swiftwater areas that fall within our fire district, and we have not been potentially alerted in the past. And so we're working with our partners and also trying to work with JeffCom to make sure that we are alerted to those calls. Even though our response time is extended there, it is definitely important that we are as part of those calls as they do fall within our authority having jurisdiction, which is our legal boundaries. And that's a conversation that's ongoing and positive with Golden. Key operational issues is still EMS. There's a region-wide shortage of paramedics. I'm actually going to expand that. It's nationwide shortage of paramedics. It's not just our EMS provider that's having a hard time finding paramedics. It's every fire department, every EMS service. EMS or paramedics are in short supply right now. And it probably will be for the foreseeable future as we move forward. The discussion continues to be that Golden Gate is a priority for receiving an advanced life support ambulance as Stadium works to balance rotating in a basic life support car into the system as it's necessary. The other thing that Stadium is doing is actually sending a significant cohort of EMTs through the AEMT program, which may increase at least their knowledge base, if not their scope in the future, hopefully. Currently, I don't believe there's a change in scope for Jefferson County and the Denver Metro protocols, but it does significantly increase their knowledge base. The operational guidance for that, for all of our officers and members, has been that they need to consider the staging or balancing resources need to address the district-wide ALS shortage. This really pertains mostly for us for backcountry and extended calls where we may not need a paramedic right away, and be able to call them once we've accessed a patient. So personnel. We have 17 members currently on the roster, 2 on leave of absence. We did have 1 person resign in the last month who was on a long-term leave of absence. We have 1 on short-term injury leave, and then 1 of our other firefighters just accepted a full-time career fire position for West Metro. So as Golden Gate, we continue to have a really good history of bringing on good firefighters, and there's proof in that, and that they are being they're being brought on to large career fire departments, whether it be Summit County in the mountains, on the Eastern Plains. I think this is the 3rd or 4th firefighter this year that we've had hired from Golden Gate Fire. So that's a really good testament to our people. I know it can be hard as a community for us to hear that we have our firefighters come to the district and then they end up going elsewhere for their career. Hopefully they maintain their district or their relationships with the district as they move forward, but it also really is a testament to the fire district. As we spoke about in the last meeting, we do have 1 additional support services person that is officially joined into support services group, and that is Joy Gokul. And she is officially appointed to the position of a family information officer. This is a new position in the fire service, and it serves as the official liaison between the fire department and the firefighters' families. This is going to be a unique opportunity for her to be able to interact with firefighters who are on the ground, and be able to relay information during large events directly to firefighter families. And we think that this is a really revolutionary position for us, and hopefully for other fire departments that can follow the model moving forward. I've brought this idea to several other chiefs in the area who have all kind of opened their eyes and dropped their jaw at the idea of having this position and what it could mean for their departments moving forward. So I hope that we serve as a model. Firefighter McDaniel will be moving into Station 82 on August 31st. She actually just started moving in. She signed her papers yesterday, and her contract, and she already started moving her stuff in slowly. She's also increasing her crewing days until then, as she starts to kind of transition into moving into the firehouse. She's completely set up upstairs. We do have 2 firefighters that are graduating from Fire Academy next week on Saturday. They have both done fantastic jobs, and we're very, very proud of them. That academy or that graduation is going to be happening on the 26th, I believe, in Golden at the golf course. Is it the Arrowhead Golf Course? Yes, Arrowhead Golf Course.
Fossil Trace.
Fossil Trace, not Arrowhead. Thank you. Golf course. Fossil Trace. Thank you for the correction there.
Do we have that posted on the website?
It is not posted. I believe it is invite only at this point, just based off of the amount of people that would be attending. So we will post after the fact. We will post a good social media blast of them graduating photos so we can have the community participate in that way.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Board-
The board has been.
The whole board has been invited.
The board and the official fire department and support
Yeah.
services is invited. I think we need to make sure that that goes out to support services, Terry. And we probably should all, we can extend that to those as well. In addition to firefighter Meyer graduating from Fire Academy, he has also very graciously accepted a very important role as we move forward with the fire department. And he has completed his training with the Rocky Mountain Police and Fire Chaplains and will be officially named Golden Gate Fire Protection District's first fire chaplain.
Awesome. Isn't that just
Cool.
awesome?
Meyer?
Yes,
It's so cool. I did not know.
Volunteer fire, is that a chaplain?
yes.
Mhm.
Yes, it's very common. The Rocky Mountain Police and Fire Chaplains is quite a large group, quite a large support group. And this is just one branch of support that we're trying to extend to our firefighters as we move forward, as we look at trying to implement both peer support and spiritual support, and could hopefully a version of the EAP. We also had an onboarding meeting with support services on August 14th that was very successful, in bringing those guys in and up to speed. And I have another meeting with someone who was not able to attend tomorrow. So after tomorrow, all of the support services crew has been gone through their first orientation meeting. The one thing that's important for support services that we've moved forward as we move forward is making sure that they're included in the fire department under the fire chief and under the organization chart. At the next board meeting, I will be presenting a new organizational chart that includes support services and the role that we've included there, or in roles that we've included. But also making sure that they receive specific uniform items and are included on email lists and get engaged in the communications that they need to be included with. So we're just moving forward with that, and also importantly, making sure that those volunteer hours get tracked for the fire district. I do think that at some point we should potentially look at documenting hours for the board that's also volunteer. Those hours that are donated by the board probably will count for any kind of accreditation that we move forward with. So I think that that's something we should probably consider for the board, is making sure that all of your volunteer hours are somehow tracked, because I do believe that those hours should be counted.
Great.
We talked about training. We don't need to go through that. Golden Gate Fire will be hosting Fire 2 Academy, as we referenced before. That is going to be starting October 28th and will be held for 4 Saturdays consequentially. We'll be hosting 2 days. Golden will be hosting 1 day, and Timberline will be hosting 1 day. I'll be functioning as the academy coordinator for that. All of our communications equipment, all of our radios are installed and in service in all vehicles and all of our handhelds. As you can see, we've actually distributed pretty much every radio, but one's on the far side of the table that the online group can't see. Those are radios that have been turned in. So we are pretty in full swing with all of our new communications equipment. On not so great terms, UTV 81, as we mentioned in the last board meeting, experienced a failure on a training. It was taken to G-Force Motorsports, and the mechanic relayed that the drive shaft is failing. They were unable to replace it with OEM components. So we are looking at an alternative, seeing if it's something that we can fix in-house with a secondary market component with a U-joint onto that drive shaft. If that is not possible, then at that point, the UTV 81 will not be usable by the fire district at all. So it's currently marked as out of service.
Oh, that's the UTV.
Yes.
That's the little guy.
Little guy,
Okay.
yep. And we'll look forward to examining alternatives for that as we move forward after we get a true diagnostic and we're able to really tear into it ourselves and see what else is going on there. They at G-Force, they really did a really extensive diagnostic on that vehicle, and they were able to give us a list of the issues that they found. So we're going to look to see if we can address them or not before we really call it out of service for forever. Yes.
If that UTV is no longer usable, what is your plan for disposal of that unit?
I think at that point, we probably need to look and see if there's somebody within the fire district that would, or within the district that would want to purchase it from the fire district.
I would-
Um,
And would it be done on an open highest bidder? We've had a problem with this in the past, so I want to ask.
I think we'd have to discuss that. It might be up to the board on how we do that. We could do an open bid. We could also do a closed bid and not go to the highest bidder with the closed bidding process.
Just
But
as
it would
long-
make, we would make sure that it's fair.
just as long as it doesn't get sold as on an inside deal to somebody with a preferential position.
No, that would not happen.
Okay, well, it has happened in the past, so I want to bring that up and make sure that's noted.
Yes, very much noted. Thank you for letting me know that, Steve.
You're welcome, Kyle.
As we move forward into other vehicles, all of the vehicles need to rotate to Arvada Fire Protection District where we have our vehicles serviced. All of our vehicles need to go through an annual inspection with an emergency vehicle technician. And we're starting to work with them as far as what that schedule looks like. We have 2 lieutenants that are currently tasked with that. There are several small issues that we do know about with the apparatus that need to be taken care of. They currently don't affect our response capabilities, but I want to make sure that they're addressed as we move forward. Brush 81 did have its tires replaced earlier this week. And we're going to look at all of the tires in the district moving forward. We have a really good relationship with a vendor that's down in Wheat Ridge, and they were really able to do a great job to come through with us. We were able to replace the entirety, all 6 tires on Brush 81 for under $1,200.
Wow.
And that was incredible for 6 tires of that quality. Let's see here, new website. Becca's made some significant headway on the website, and we're still on target to have that project completed by the end of October. On August 9th, the district experienced a short communications outage due to our domain being tied to a previous district credit card and administrator, and all of the logins also being tied to that. We had to work through a significant, many layers to try to get that fixed. And we were able to get it fixed at the 11th minute or 11th hour. And we were able to get it reestablished and everything got updated. And no critical failures were experienced during that outage. The outage for the website lasted approximately 10 hours.
A shout out of thanks goes to Sam Patton.
Yes. Yes, I think there was quite a few hands that came up together to put that, to get that figured out. And it took a lot of time and stress to get us through that, but we were able to get it fixed.
I know that Sheila asked me, what's wrong with the website? She was trying to get into it.
It
It's like, I don't know.
it was gone.
It was,
gone.
yeah, I'm glad we were able to get it fixed. Let's just put it that way. There were some tense moments. Likely future action events. We already talked about most of this. We're still planning on doing a mission, vision, values meeting in September as a follow-up to all the cleanup and cleanouts. We did some onboarding for the sports services and then working on the budgets, plural.
Yeah, I think the budget needs to get started next month.
Yes,
Is that
so we
correct?
should be, we're gonna work on, we already have started working on soliciting budget requests from the firefighters. And have heard back on several of their large requests. They definitely have some, and some ideas of what they would like to see with the fire district do moving into next year. So we will have some significant projects ahead of us with that. That's it. Any questions for me? All
Very
right.
important. Thank you.
Thank you. Community organizations, Miss Terry? Are you wearing two hats? Two hats? Are you wearing 2 hats?
I think so, yeah. Real quick with the Grange Community Brunch on 9/17, 10 to 1. And then we also have our pig roast, 9/23, 5 to 8. Sign says right there. And all hands on deck with the firefighters, some the day before and all of them that day. We'll give the chief an agenda so it's very clear so he can communicate to the firefighters. Auxiliary, they're gearing up for the pig roast. That's it. So we're taking donations. Got a lot of volunteers that have stepped up. One question was from the auxiliary too is, this may be a Chris Enright since he's kind of like our official photographer. We would love photos of all the firefighters. Yeah, and I did a photo of all the firefighters. firefighters.
I think we're also gonna work on that for the website project as well.
Perfect.
So I think that we can move forward with that idea, and
Any way we could expedite that before the 23rd?
I can't imagine why we wouldn't. I'll talk to him about it. I put a lot of things on his plate recently, especially with the whole DWPP thing.
Oh,
So I want to make sure that we don't overwhelm him.
that's priority, no,
Yeah.
understood. If it can happen, great. If it can't, that's okay too. We'll look forward to introducing each one in person then. So, very good, and that's it.
I also, if you guys don't mind, or need to backtrack for 1 second, there's 2 very important things that have occurred since the filing of the chief's report that I wanted to make sure the public is aware of.
Okay.
As of last, we interviewed firefighters for new operational roles this last weekend, and we are very pleased that we have offered and they have been accepted 4 new firefighter positions for Golden Gate. Of note, 3 of them are in district or in district volunteers. Several of them are what we consider lateral applicants that have either EMT certifications, are in EMT classes, or have fire certifications or a fire background, also search and rescue backgrounds. So we're very excited to bring them on board. The other thing of note is that we successfully submitted a grant for direct distribution. We submitted for 20 air pack replacements for SCBAs, and I believe 12 pairs of bunker gear, full sets of bunker gear, including hoods. Just of note, that's over $300,000 worth of equipment.
Thank you.
That was,
Submitted a grant?
we did submit a grant. We won't hear back about it until I believe the end of next month. But I hope that we have an answer back as soon as we can with that. It is a significant, that was actually written by Chris Enright and with assistance from Lord Bro.
Anchor,
Yay.
yes.
All right, that's all I have.
Is that all?
Yes, I apologize for that. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Primer, you want to make a comment on the communication policy?
Yeah, I'd like to see a new communication policy rewritten so it fits better.
You're talking about the email policy, correct?
Yes.
What exactly do you want to bring an idea? Or submit something and we'll consider it? Why don't you bring something to the next meeting and we'll consider it?
Okay, I will. I brought one 2 weeks, over a month ago, but you didn't even look at it.
Didn't know you brought something. The website posting,
I'd like to have a spot for each individual board member to have a spot to do their own posting on it.
I'm sorry, you want, say again,
On the
please?
communication policy, it's all you putting the stuff on there, and we'd like to be able to put our own.
You're saying it's sort of like a personal page on the website?
Yeah, personal little blip on there, so we can put our own little words on
I
there.
don't think you can,
Do that.
Dave, it's a nice idea, but I don't think you can do that with a government organization.
We are government organization.
I know.
Deb
So
Curley
that's
is doing it, Kurt.
confusing.
She puts up her stuff, nobody else gets to. Why can't the other board members?
Point of order, is this a discussion? or is-
Here to you too.
This is a comment from Dave of what he'd like to see.
Oh, Steve, like,
There's no discussion.
Dave, do you agree with what I just said?
I couldn't understand it because of the electronic stuff don't come on through my ears very well.
Right, it's a bad system they have, no doubt. Dave, what I said was that right now Deb Curley gets to post what she wants, or somebody does, but certain board members do not, which would include you and I.
Right.
These are, we're not even gonna go there.
We like to have our own.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your comment. Thank you, and that'll be part of the record. Okay.
Peter.
For the record. New business. We have a study resolution for impact fees, and this is you, Kyle.
Yes. So as we discussed in the last board meeting, talked about the opportunity of analyzing or moving forward with just a study to see if impact fees would be a beneficial thing for the fire district to move forward with to diversify our financial picture. After that discussion, we approached BBC, which is BBC Research and Consulting, which is a research and consulting firm that has done impact fees for several other fire districts in the region. And they had come back with a proposal at $12,000 for them to create basically do the entirety of the study for us. At that time, we had a resident who is technically able to create or do a significant portion of the study, step forward and offer her time and services professionally to be able to assist with that. We were able to go back to BBC and they were amicable to the idea of providing oversight of the study that would be done by the resident. And to basically make sure that there was no legal challenges to whatever study that was or the results of the study. And it brought the cost of that to not exceed $4,000. So it brought it down by basically 2/3. That resident is Jan Snyder. Jan Snyder is a professional technical writer and researcher. And she has helped the district with many things in the past, and she has volunteered to help with that moving forward. And we are very thankful for her expertise and her willingness and time to be able to do so. Just a review of what a impact fee is, just for clarification. Impact fees are assessed by special districts specifically to address the effects of development on a district, new development. District. An impact fee is a one-time fee, and it's designed to defray the cost of capital infrastructure to address the service increase caused by that new development. They're implemented by many of the fire districts that surround us. They are separate from any type of fee from service or for general operations, and they are exclusively to be used for expansion of capital infrastructure with a service life more than 5 years. So that money that is brought in from impact fees is specifically ring fenced and put in a specific account for capital infrastructure. And assessment of impact fees, or the assessment of impact fees, was authorized in 2016 by House Bill 1088. The action item that is attached is should BBC or should GDFPT retain BBC Research and Consulting and also Jan Snyder and her expertise to start a volunteer-led impact fee study.
Okay.
Are you expecting a lot of subdivisions up here?
So it's even if it's not specifically for subdivisions, we do see anywhere between 6 to 10 applications for new builds within the district each year.
That's individuals.
Individuals, yes. So it has any new build, whether it be residential, commercial, large development, it all is assessed an impact fee based off of the occupancy type.
Great. And once that building is up, don't they start paying taxes on it?
Correct. Then those taxes go to operational fees that are or operational budgets for the fire department.
And you said the act out that from the House, it says that we can assess the impact fee without a study.
It actually says in the fee itself or in the act itself, there's some additional language that says that we have to, in order for us to be able to actually leverage and create the number that's associated with the fee, like the actual fee itself, it has to be done through a study. So we can't arbitrarily as a fire district say this is what our impact fee is.
Because each one will be different, Dave, depending on the price of the new construction.
Well,
so
bigger than others.
So let me make sure that's so normally for residential, it's actually a flat impact fee
Oh, okay.
per lot.
Yeah.
Stand
But
corrected, I'm
the
sorry.
impact fee is actually based off of the needs. of the
Could you
fire
back
district.
up? There's too much noise. I couldn't hear what you're saying.
No problem. The fees, impact fees are for residential are normally assessed at a flat rate Occasionally, some districts have done an additional rate for large square footage residential development, but most of them use a flat fee. That's something that would come from a recommendation from a study like this, what we move forward with this, what we would move forward with. And commercial development is usually on a square footage and use type basis.
Kyle.
Go ahead, Steve.
Go ahead.
As per Chris Creech and Niffy, the combination treasurers, they say we have more money than ever. We're in great shape. Taxes are going up everywhere, not the values as seen by everybody's assessed value rate. Why do you feel the need to charge our residents more money?
So that's a good question, Steve. This is really not for us to be able to use right now. This is about securing the future of the fire district 10, 15, 20 years from now. This is a long range measure that we'll be taking right now.
I don't think that answers my question. If we have enough money, 400,000 in the bank, and everybody's assessed rate, in my case, my house doubled in value. Why do you feel the need to collect more taxes?
The cost for infrastructure increase, Steve, it would far out currently, I'm just going to be blunt, it would exceed our current ability to pay for, building a new station, acquiring new fire apparatus to cover, especially when we look in that long range forecast.
Well, every year we get a substantial amount of money in from the property taxes. And it seems to me it's an excessive grab at our citizens and residents' money, pocketbooks.
I understand your position.
Yeah.
However, yeah, this, like I said, this is an option that's been brought forward to the board as something that's been successful for other fire districts, which is why I brought it forward to try to make sure that we're approaching all of the options for financial diversification.
Could we talk about the study for just a second? The benefits of how beneficial the study would be. What would it bring to the district?
The study has got multiple other benefits that comes from this. We would have a really good idea as far as where our current developable land would be. It also assesses some of our needs. And it also kind of goes hand in hand with some of the things that we would probably learn from a CWPP that could have operational long-term effects on the way that we run the fire district on an operational perspective. So it really gives us a really good overview of the district. It also would help us dealing with strategic planning moving forward.
Right. The what's on the table is the study.
Yes.
Nothing more than that. Any other questions, comments?
Are you, if nothing more than that, then what we are considering is whether or not to spend $4,000 in Jan's labor on creating a plan that we may or may not use. Is that correct?
Correct. It is an examination of the fire district and the idea of implementing a impact fee and what that would do for the fire district.
So it's a cost benefit assessment essentially, and
It also assigns what the effective impact fee would be that we would assess.
so what that impact fee would be used for, is that what you're saying?
The actual number itself.
Oh, the number itself, okay.
Because what those fees would be used for, as they're going into just that capital reserve fund, that remains to be seen again in that 10, 15, 20-year window.
Kyle.
It's a very specific fund where the money stays. Is that correct?
Correct.
Only for,
It cannot be moved anywhere.
it can't be moved anywhere else.
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes, sir.
did you not say at a past meeting that one of the requirements for having an impact fee is to have a study concerning impact fees?
Yes, and so that came from consulting with the SDA. After originally investigating with the act and then reaching out to the SDA's legal team, and they're the ones that advise that that's the precedent that we have to do an impact fee study.
So then in reality, this is a first step towards that impact fee enactment.
Correct. So where, like I said, this is the first, well, let's take a step back. This is the first step towards examining what the impact fee would be for the fire district and if it is beneficial for the fire district.
And it's the first step to having, once this is done,
Point of order, Steve, you've had more than your 2 opportunities to talk on this discussion. We get your point. but Point of order, you've exceeded your amount of input for this discussion.
be quiet. So Kyle. this
So,
is-
Madam President, it is up to you according to Robert's rules. So rule on a point of order. We have rules in our online.
Piggy, Niffy, please. And
One of you needs to stop talking. You're talking over each other.
me by my telephone at 3 in.the.morning with prank phone calls, Nippy. Don't do that.
All right.
Point of order. Point of order.
Yeah, stop it.
Can you mute him,
It's
please?
3 in.the.morning, Nippy.
Can you mute him, please?
Steve,
Can I
you're off topic, Steve.
You stop it. I'm asking a question. Now you stop it, Miss Authoritative Dictator. I have a question I'm asking.
What is the question?
I already said it, but I'm going to say it again because it wasn't answered. This is a first requirement to enacting impact fees. Is that not correct?
That is
Yes,
correct.
that is correct.
That's what I want to be on the record.
Okay. Any other comments? Is Jan online?
I don't believe she is.
I would say one thing, that it is a potentially worthwhile contribution to assessing our future needs. And that has been something that people have ranted about, being done by an outside group rather than in-house for some time. So it might be worthwhile to pony up this money at this point, to get an outside opinion. I'm done.
I do want to make sure that this is clear, that this is not a assessment fee that falls on anybody who's currently a resident of the district that is not, that is trying to remodel, their bathroom or their kitchen or, build a deck. This is for someone who is truly building a new home or commercial space within the fire district, and to account for the impact that new residents have on the districts.
I would like to say that I see this going considerably further, even though you say that, Kyle. I don't believe that these things generally end the way you just said. And it will go on to be increased taxes across the board.
Okay, so
All right.
again,
Do we,
Steve Green doesn't know what he's talking about because you can't
All right.
take the impact fee to touch anything other than what the law allows you to. It is a law that is on the books. It cannot be used to impact anything else. So I will move that we adopt the resolution to go ahead and conduct the study on impact fees.
And I would second that.
okay. I'll call the question. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
And I'm voting aye. Meredith,
Aye.
Dave,
Dave Primer says nay. I appreciate Jan Snyder coming forward and helping out on this, but I don't see a need for the impact fees.
okay, and Steve, your vote?
Nay.
All right, motion passes. And great thanks to Jan.
Yes.
Please make sure she knows that. Next on the agenda is resident information. Is this about Nicole? You just
Yeah,
wanted
so
to
I
say
just want
a couple
to
things?
address a few things on the resident. So with Nicole assuming the resident position at Station 82, we did change some of the requirements just to update the community on that. We changed some of the shifting requirements to cover the day. I know that that's been a consideration for the fire district or a question for the fire district, as far as coverage during the daytime. So there is a requirement for that resident to cover 24 hours of daytime coverage between Monday and Thursday. The way that really looks is essentially 56 hours total of coverage between day, night, and weekend coverage each week. However, that coverage is flexible. And also we created an amendment or a change within that document for the resident that does allow them to travel into Golden with a district vehicle and still be within what we call the District 3 response area. So within 5 minutes of the canyon. So anywhere that's really allows them to basically shop for groceries or, run errands as they need, but still be response ready. So that was the other thing. It's a really great change that we had as we brought on the rescue, and it's been put here at Station 83 or 82, is it actually allows that resident the freedom to do so and still be response capable. The other thing that we created that's a big change for that resident is while they are on duty, specific response times. So they have I believe it's a 30-second or 30 or 60-second radio key up time, and then a 3-minute response time to be actually en route to a call. The one thing that I wanted to bring to the community's attention is that due to this change, and also due to some of the onboarding and the location of several of our new firefighters, we may be significantly decreasing our turnout times, but by my estimation is by 50% within the next 6 months.
And did you mention she is an EMT?
Yeah, so just so the community is aware, the resident is a fully qualified EMT firefighter and works professionally as EMT. Shall be going, it sounds like, through AEMT in the very near future as well. Right.
And one thing I'd just like to mention that I don't think you did. We now have coverage of all 3 stations.
Oh,
Is that,
yeah,
yes,
that's correct.
this is huge.
This is a big deal as well. There's just so many things that they just kind of.
That's okay.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, so with bringing on the new firefighters, we did bring on to my knowledge, our first in-district Station 83 firefighter.
In
District
District Station 83.
They live within the response area that is designated as Station 83. And that's a really cool thing for us. Like I said, we realistically will have the ability to turn out all 3 stations when we have the resident in district very, very quickly.
It's just great. Thank you.
Audio is so bad, I couldn't understand what this new thing that you're discussing is about Station 83.
There's there will be an in-district firefighter living within a few minutes of Station 83.
The audio's been just fine for me.
Okay. Meredith, you're up for 2024 regular board meeting schedule. Meredith has a request.
I agreed to do this job with a lot of reluctance and missed in the past a lot of meetings to attend meetings here because I've been a member for almost 50 years of a different organization that also meets on the 3rd Thursday of the month. So I am bringing up a proposal that we pick a different Thursday of the month, if that would not conflict enormously with anyone else's Thursdays. Yes, it's personal, but and I credit to Deb on this thought. If we were to shift it to the 4th Thursday instead of, I think I said the 2nd Thursday in my email. If we shifted it to the 4th Thursday, it would make the distillation of all of the financial reports and budget reports easier on the bookkeeper and the treasurer because it's closer to the end of the month, so more of the information would be available. I will continue coming to the meetings, but I would love it if we could change them. So my proposal at this point would be to change to the fourth Thursday. Note, of course, that we might have to
Just,
adjust the dates in November and December to avoid conflicting with Thanksgiving and Christmas. But I'm putting that forward as a suggestion. If you're, and I encourage discussion.
I'm gonna
I
echo.
want to note real quickly, I don't know that we always have a fourth Thursday.
I haven't looked at a calendar, so I don't know.
Well,
Terry said it's Wednesday or it's in February that we don't have a fourth Thursday.
we did this year, but next year I don't have a calendar.
Yeah.
But that you can address
Yeah,
just for February, you know.
okay, this is to be considered. We set the calendar in January. That's when we have to set the calendar for 2024. I'd also like to add that Meredith is going to be a board member for 4 years. And
Then the
And-
other food for thought is, do we have to have a meeting every month? Can't we just have them every other month?
No, we actually do have to have them every month. It's in our bylaws. And our
by the bylaws, we have to.
That's the requirement.
So
Don't we usually in November or December have to move a meeting up anyway for the budget?
yeah,
Very commonly.
Yeah.
so there's, we can make adjustments. This is just something to consider, and we have time before we have to write it down. And everybody should look at calendars, think about it, and
Right, I'm not proposing a resolution now.
no.
I'm just throwing it out there for consideration.
The other option that I would suggest that would be possible, because I'm gonna echo the idea that finance and bookkeeping, that's better if we look at basically holistically the last month. Same thing with operations. It gives us a better idea on a month-to-month basis, so we're not actually looking at a half month. The other option that I would suggest that we could put out there, if it would please the board, would be the first week of every month. That would be retroactive for the previous month.
First Thursday.
The first Thursday of each month, that would be retroactive for the month post.
Fine.
we'll see. Yeah, okay, so we have a couple of options to think about. We're with you. We hear you. Okay, public
No,
comment.
my previous comment was incorrect. We do actually have 4 Thursdays in every month of 2024. So that if whichever week we pick, it'll work.
Okay. Okay,
And I got one question, not on this subject. Did you get the resolution file? From the Jan Snyder resolution, did you get that filed at the county?
I asked if we needed to and was told that resolutions don't need to be.
Don't need to be, but we agreed to get it filed.
Okay, I'll take care of that.
Okay.
Thank you for the reminder. I questioned, but I think I reached out to SDA and they said that resolutions.
It doesn't need to be, but we
Let's
needed to
do
put it down in the county so it don't get lost in the shuffle, because
Okay,
it's what we discussed the last time.
okay. I will
Let it
take care
pass.
of that. Public comment? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Recorded is the proper term. With the clerk and recorder, you can record any document you want.
Okay. So you're suggesting clerk and recorder?
That's who records it.
No, I know that, but thank you.
You're welcome.
Public comment? Patty, near. Oh, yes. Go ahead.
Just a few days ago. Fire in Ohio, the result of electrical wires. Which raised an issue that I think we need to commend United Power for doing the changes that they're doing right now. And the history of this is that we have a line through our property that's been there for 75 years. It's a main line that broke maybe 5 years ago. And we asked at the time, it broke and started a fire. So we said, would you please, because we knew it was an old line, check the line. They checked the line, there were some more breaks in the line, they repaired them. And sure enough, within about 6 months, we had another break in the line. So what they did, bless their souls, is that they deactivated that line and worked around it. And said at the time that they were looking at changing all of the wiring. And that they would deactivate that until they could change the wiring. The new wiring that's going in this district is top of the arch. And that it's a coated wire, so that if it falls, it does not start a fire.
Wow.
And United Power is a small utility. And they have a huge exposure in the mountains in particular. And the fact that they are taking the money and the time and the energy to change that out to protect us, I think is wonderful. And I think we need to let them know it's wonderful.
Like a letter from our fire chief, perhaps.
I think,
Well, the other thing they do, and any landowner can request it, is for them to come and clear cut 10 feet either side of your power line.
Yes.
And they will do it and you get the firewood, so.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
They did that for years.
Quick
For our one.
I just had mine done maybe 2 years ago, and it was amazing. They came out, assessed it, had to clear on the next week.
I believe there's also some additional technology that United and some of the other, there's some additional technology that's United and some of the other smaller power utilities have been looking at as far as sensing. And there's some really good technology moving forward for power safety. And I know that a lot of the small utilities, especially the ones that serve the mountains, are very, very aware and are looking at opportunities to implement those.
I think it's wonderful that they're doing. If you look at PG&E in California, you don't see Excel doing there, I don't think. And so these big companies are not covering as well as some of the small ones. It's cool.
Any other public comment? Because I'd like to personally thank the NEARS, which we forgot to do, for 2 flag donations, I believe, a couple months ago. And also a shout out to Garrett, who graded Station 82's driveway very nicely.
I also spent almost 4 hours reading station last week.
Yeah. I'm going to leave this is to remind you. Our next regular board meeting is September 21st at 7 at Station 83, which is the Grange Hall. And I will. Anybody want to make a motion to adjourn, or should we just adjourn?
Move we adjourn.
And I'll second that. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. I think that's 4 or 5, so
Good job.
thank you. Thank you, Dave.